Anyone can get out there and do 1 to 5 million pretty easy, but to scale, you got to. For my first 20 years, I was knocking on doors, and everyone kept asking me, like, why do you keep knocking on doors? Because it got me here. Everyone's like, oh, door knocking's dying. I think the ones that talk about door knocking's dying are the ones that don't want to do it.
What's the difference between you and everybody else who was knocking on doors who are still knocking on doors?
Just
What it is, Brad Lee back again with another episode of Dropping Bombs. Today in the studio, folks, as always, I got a real treat for you. Tony Flattum is in the house. What's up, Tony?
Hey, man. How you doing?
Get up on that mic like
Yeah,
it's a microphone.
There you go.
Guys, if you guys don't know Tony's a seasoned entrepreneur with over 20 years in the roofing and real estate space. He started in 2002 knocking on doors. And now you're freaking bigwig.
Yeah.
Why do you think, what's the difference between you and everybody else who was knocking on doors who are still knocking on doors?
I would say just doing it over and over again and just being consistent and not giving up on it. Most people get out there and do it, and they give up after a few years. So 20 plus years of knocking on doors and getting after it and doing it, and just consistency.
So what about the people that have been doing it for 20 years, but they haven't done anything? I mean, you had to have like recognized some opportunities and like had some thoughts go through your head that other people just don't have.
Yeah. I mean, it's most people that I see that are doing it for a long time, or even 5-10 years. I mean, they make their money, they knock on doors, have their good seasons, and then they spend their money. They don't invest it. So like for me, I mean, early on, I've been starting off investing and putting my money to work, and that's what really helped me build some real wealth, is investing my money and putting the work and not having to like spend it, over the years and just being careless. It's literally just investing the money and putting it to work and living off the passive income is the biggest thing.
So what do you have, like 1,200 doors or something?
Yeah, a little over 1,270. Started back in 2002 and started buying some properties, and over time just kept buying more and more, and looking back on, started getting into some bigger stuff over the years. But that's been the biggest thing, is just buying the properties, having the passive income coming in, and really looking at changing the game of not making the money and then being broke the next year and selling all your stuff. It's putting everything and buying the passive income, buying the properties and living off of that, to where it's more and more consistent over the years. And it's been a game changer for me, for sure.
Were you able to like keep your lifestyle, even though you were making money, you were getting rid of it by investing it? Because what a lot of people do is they make some good money, and then they go buy a nicer car, nicer house, nicer trips, and then they're just broke at another level.
Right.
I mean, everybody sees them and thinks, wow, they're successful. When in reality, if they stopped working, their money stops.
Absolutely.
So how did you know to do that? Did you have a mentor?
No, not at all. When I was growing up, I mean, my family didn't have much money growing up. So, I mean, they never had mentors. They weren't business people. They didn't really know anything about that. And really, I actually kind of fell into the investing thing. And in 2004, when I bought my first duplexes, that's when the light bulb went off for me. I bought that to actually move in one side of it and rent out the other side and kind of live humble, And when I did that, the person that I bought the duplex from was like, hey, let me rent back from you for 6 months. And I'm building a house, so let me rent back for you for a few months. And I did that. When I did that, I was having the other person living upstairs, and then they stayed there for 6 months. And when I saw that, I was like, light bulb, $500, $800 a month coming in free and clear. And I'm like, I can do more of this. And that was kind of the start of my real estate journey, as I started buying more and more properties and just kept adding and adding and adding over the years, to where now, 1,270 doors.
So you said, or this tells me that you built and scaled 3 brands that have generated over 400 million. And then after facing business setbacks, including losing a partnership and being forced to start over, you founded Built Strong Exteriors in 2016, which has since done over 200 million.
Yes.
So you've done it multiple times.
Yeah.
Why? So what makes you different? I'm trying to get people to understand, like, there's got to be something different. Like, you just keep doing it.
Well, it's the drive. I mean, it's having that passion and the drive just to keep going and not settling.
Don't you think other people have that?
They probably do for a little bit, and then I think they lose their passion. Like everyone always says, like, "Oh, I get burnt out. I get burnt out." Well, I think if you have your goals so big and you have passion, you never get burnt out because you just get up early and you start working because your drive and your goals are so big to where you don't get burnt out.
Did you have the goals of owning and scaling companies, or?
Well, my goal was early on was obviously first to make money. That was the biggest thing 'cause I didn't have any. And then once I started making money, I started figuring out what I could do to at least put everyone else first, meaning like, hey, what can I do to help people? And if I can help my customers, I was a salesperson early on because I didn't own my company right in the beginning. I mean, I started selling for 3 years before I opened my own company.
Was it roofing?
Yeah. So I got in 02, I started selling for a company, first, and then started putting myself out there and saying, hey, if I can help my customers take care of what their needs are, then I'll do fine. So I started helping more customers, and then I started getting my own thing going in 2006. And then it was more about my employees, my people. So if I can help make them money, then I'll make money. So I always kept kind of putting them first and not really chasing the money, have money start chasing me. Was the biggest thing over time is just working and grinding and showing up early, leaving late, working 12, 16-hour days, 6 days a week, and just kept doing what got me there. And I never really got away from that. Like for my first 20 years, I was knocking on doors, and everyone kept asking me, like, why do you keep knocking on doors? And why do you keep knocking on doors? I'm like, because it got me here. And if I can help my people get there and show them what got me success, I want to be able to help them get success. And if I can change their life, then game over. Like, it's awesome.
Why do you think people are so opposed to knocking on doors?
I mean, even now, like everyone's like, oh, door knocking's dying. And I think the ones that talk about door knocking's dying and don't want to do it are the ones that don't want to do it. And the ones that truly are door knockers, like I've been knocking for a lot of years and my team still keeps knocking, and we don't do a whole lot of advertising and leads because the leads just get you lazy, it seems like, when you can get into an area and start knocking on doors and really put the effort into that and put money into training the guys to knock on doors, you can really hone in a neighborhood and take over and grow that neighborhood by knocking on doors. And it's not dying. Like, it's still very, very profitable and it's great. It's just, you have to keep the mindset of how important it is.
Who got you into roofing?
My brother, actually. He actually reached out because the company that they were good friends of his, and they were reaching out to him and saying, hey, we need to fill a spot in production and come over here and work with us. And I was kind of getting tired of my previous job before, doing something completely different. And he reached out and said, hey, these guys are hiring right in our hometown, local. You should go work with these guys. And I went in and sat down with them, and they offered me the sales position or production. And right out of the gate, I actually took the production side first.
Is that doing the roofing?
Yeah. Yep. In 2002, I started doing that first, doing the roofing.
So you were pounding nails and shingles and...
More of like doing some repairs, but then also watching and quality control, like watching the crews and managing the crews and doing the inspections and doing small repairs.
Roofing's a killer industry. I had no idea. When I was younger, my uncles were I guess in production. They were and they would hire me to go on a site and like bring the shingles up the ladder. And I thought, this bullshit. Like, this dumb, I ain't doing this shit. I didn't know that there was the sales side of it at the time. But roofing is a big industry. There's a lot of people making a lot of money. A buddy of mine was running a car dealership, and he was like, dude, you know what's going on in the world. Tell me how do I get rich? And I just spoke to a roofer that was doing like 20 mil in his pocket. And I said, dude, roofing, man, you can make some coin in roofing. I didn't realize he would listen, but he quit his job, went out, started a roofing company. And in his first year, he did like 28 mil. Second year is doing even better. So it's like, dude, there's a lot of people that need roofs apparently.
Absolutely.
So you just go to a neighborhood and just knock on the door and say, hey, do you want a free roof inspection? What's your pitch?
Yeah, just pretty much offering a free inspection and going out there, letting them know that we're out there to provide a free service to take a look at their roof and see if they have damage and covered by the insurance company. So we do a lot of insurance restoration work from hail damage. So you go out there and take a look at the roof, take some pictures, get back down and show them what their roof looks like and what their chances are of being approved by the insurance company and helping them through the process. And by doing that, I mean, you're offering a service. So you're really not even selling anything. You're just offering a service for people.
Who says no to that?
A lot of them that just don't understand it and just don't know. But if you can really explain to them how important it is to take a look at the roof, and the first part of it is selling the inspection, right? Getting up on the roof and showing them what the roof looks like. But
you're not even selling it.
No, you're offering
it.
Yeah, you're offering a service. So yeah, it's not.
So are these the salespeople that get up there and inspect it?
Yeah. Yeah.
And so how do you train them to know what to look for? I wouldn't know what to look for.
Yeah, I mean, we have our sales managers that get out there with them, knock on doors with them, get up on the roofs and show them what the insurance looks for, like the bruising in the shingle, and what that looks like, the impacts of the hits, and how many per square, a 10 by 10 area, what the insurance looks for. So when you're going through and showing them that, pre-qualifying the homeowners, getting down and walking through those steps to get them approved.
And you say you train your guys?
Yeah.
How do you train them?
So when they first start, we do a boot camp. So they go through a 4-day boot camp explaining everything from the pitch, the closing, what the product looks like, what hail damage looks like, the company's story, and going through all of that. And then at that point, we get them out in the field with their sales manager, and then they get field training.
How many salespeople could you use if you wanted it?
I mean, in our market, we could probably get 50 or 60 more reps. It's just a huge area, a lot of damage. I mean, we always get a storm every year, a smaller storm, but then the bigger ones that come through, I mean, they're billion-dollar storms that come through our market. So, I mean, you can get as much as you want.
Does insurance ever decline?
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, not everyone gets approved for sure. I mean, there's always areas where you're on the outskirts, or, you know, they might have 3 or 4 or 5 hits, or even sometimes where you'll have 20 hits and the insurance will come out there and take a look at it and say it's not consistent and turn it down. Then you just file for reinspection and get back out there again and take a look at it and push the issue when you have damage to work with. Now, if there's, you know, lighter damage, you probably just move on to the next one, you know.
Does anybody ever say, screw it, I'll pay for it myself?
Yeah. In the last 2 years, we've actually had a lot more of that. So we put out a bid out there and say, hey, we'll take a look at it and with the insurance company. And then if they're 15, 20-year-old roof and there's damage on the roof, but the insurance says, no, it's more wear and tear, then we'll give them a bid. And we've had more and more of that, just like, hey, I have to get it done anyways, and let's just get this thing taken care of.
Do you do commercial?
We do. A little bit of commercial. Yep.
Why not more?
I want to do more. We just haven't. That's not my strength, so I don't really know a whole lot about it. But I actually just hired a guy that started last week that's coming in that's going to be focusing more on commercial. But most of our guys, we've done commercial because we've done so much volume over the years to where people own properties and they ask, hey, will you guys do commercial? And we'll go ahead and do them. So we probably do 10 to 15 jobs a year, bigger commercial jobs. But now we're going to focus on doing a lot more of that and having somebody directly just going out there every day and just chasing after the commercial game.
So Built Strong Exteriors is still obviously going?
Yes.
That's your main company?
That's the main brand, yep.
And what happened when you got screwed in business?
Yeah, so, even before, I had a company for a lot of years, grew a company, and my business partner and I parted ways. We were just going different directions. So that one wasn't so bad. Like, we were just going different directions, sold it off to a company doing franchising. We started franchising our brand over the years. And then my sales manager and I, we decided to keep the company together. So we teamed up, and that was in 2014. We teamed up, kept the team together, started working, and 2.5 years later, we didn't have a contract signed, so it was more of a handshake deal, saying, hey, I trust you, let's just build this company up. And one day he called me and said, hey, let's meet up. We're kind of going different directions. We're just not seeing eye to eye. Let's meet up and talk through some things. And so we met up the next day, and he had his lawyer there and just completely blindsided me and took all the money out of the account and said, we're done. We're not even going to work anything out. And I'm like, well, that's pretty cutthroat. And yeah, that day just was a done deal. And that's when Built Strong started. Me and 8 guys left that company and went over and got Built Strong going.
How was he able to snatch it from you?
Because I wasn't on any paperwork. I wasn't, we were a handshake deal to where when I was closing down the previous company, I was working on that, and he was over in the process of getting the new company going. So he always had his name on everything, and I was more of a silent partner, but we were 50-50. And so we were talking about getting a contract together, an agreement. We just never did. I just trusted him. And 2 years in, we started cranking and got back up to 8 figures right away and started really growing the team. And then once things started to get a little shaky and a little weird, it was already too late. Like there's nothing I could do at that point. So then we started just being a little distance, and I knew things were kind of happening to where it was like we weren't on the same page anymore, but never thought that would happen. Like him doing that was the worst case, right? And then when he called me and said, "Hey, let's meet up the next day and talk through some things and see where we're at," and I was like, "Hey, man, I appreciate that. Like, that's cool. Let's meet up tomorrow. Let's talk, whatever." 'Cause I was gonna call him too, 'cause I knew if things were different. But then he just completely blindsided me. I mean, I went in there and he had his lawyer there, and he was just like, "We're done. We're parting ways, and here's a little severance package for you, and I'll give you some cash, and we're done." And I'm like, I'm not taking that. I'm not going to sign that contract. And then, yeah, I walked out of the office, and I had to pretty much fight him trying to get my money back, because it was like a 7-figure loss that day. I mean, I lost over $1 million of my money.
Did you never recoup it?
I did.
Where's he at now?
He's still doing the business. He's an hour north of where we're at, so we're not even in the same area. But he did keep his brand going, and I had to rebrand and start over, and have my main 8 guys that came with me, and we just kind of rebranded. But yeah, he's still out there. But I pursued, I went after him and won in court. But it took 4-year lawsuit to get my money back. So, but it took a long time, and then he paid me over 4 years. So it was like a payment deal to where every quarter he would pay me a certain amount of money over 4 years.
Well, at least you got paid.
Yeah, I mean, but then you have all the lawyer fees and everything else, to where it's like, yeah, it was just more of the mindset of like, hey, this guy did me wrong and took advantage of my staff, my people. So I mainly just did it for that reason and said, hey, I'm going after you because of the way you did it. And if you would have came to me and said, hey, dude, I don't like working with you, I don't want to be with you anymore, I would have said, hey, no problem, I understand, let's part ways, and we would have shook hands and figured out a dollar amount and moved on. But the way he did it was so cutthroat to where I just had to pursue that issue and try to get it taken care of, because it was a big dollar amount for one, but then what he did was just so cutthroat.
So when you started your new company, why Built Strong?
It was more of the mindset of like built strong, right? Having the mindset of just getting through and pushing through and not letting anyone drag you down. Like literally the next day we started figuring out what we could do and getting the company set up and getting going, and took a little bit of time to get that going, and then figured out what we were going to do with the name and getting the marketing going. But that was middle of the season too. So like this whole thing happened like June of our season, prime time. So when that happened, we had to right after 4th of July, we got everyone back in, got everything going, got the brand, and got everything moving to where we started jumpstarting and getting everything going at that point.
It sounds pretty easy to start a roofing company, is it?
It's easy to start it for sure. I mean, you just got to get the license, you got to get a brand, you got to start designing the logo and doing all that stuff and getting it moving. But then at that point, it's taking massive action and really, because anyone can get out there and do 1 to 5 million pretty consistently, pretty easy. But to scale, you got to figure out the breaking points, you got to figure out the scalability, you got to figure out the leadership. And that takes time. Like I had to figure that stuff all on my own too. Like I really didn't know business, but going to more masterminds, getting some coaches later in life, and realizing like, hey, how can I scale and grow to bigger numbers, and working with people that can get me there. And it took time.
Are you in to M&A at all?
We haven't done that yet. I mean, people keep calling us and asking us, and I'm just kind of holding off as of right now. I mean, I'm definitely entertaining it, but right now we're private. We haven't sold.
Well, why not buy other roofing companies?
It's on my radar. So, I mean, we're looking at companies that are in the market and, near states that we can scoop up and buy and merge with.
Yeah, because I mean that's what it's all about.
Yeah.
If a company's doing 2 million,
yep,
you buy them, implement your processes and systems. Not only would it more than likely scale, but it adds 2 million to your revenue.
Yeah.
And roofing companies can get rolled up pretty easily.
Yeah, and really in the last 3 or 4 years has been a lot more of that. Like I never even thought that was even possible, or at least an option. But now with all these PE companies coming in and buying companies, and me looking at it going, well, yeah, we could either sell or we can merge or buy other companies and build our brand, maybe sell down the road.
What are you looking to do?
Well, right now I want to keep growing my own personal brand, the company, building that up, and then buying some smaller companies, get to a number that where it's sexy, and making sure our bottom line is where it needs to be so I can sell for a top dollar amount.
And then what are you going to do?
Probably just maybe some coaching, maybe some mentoring for other companies, keep buying real estate. I want to keep doing that as well. That's been a huge passion of mine, is the real estate game.
Is real estate getting worse or better?
The last few years has been a lot tougher, just with the rates and then everyone wanting top dollar for their stuff. And it's just been a different game in the last few years, but there's still deals out there. People that just want to get rid of properties. I mean, if you're looking enough and focusing on that and finding the deals from either brokers or off-market deals, they're still there. It just takes time.
You, what do you think has been the key to scaling 3 companies so successfully?
The never quit mindset, and really just reinvesting your money into the company and building your brand.
What was the moment you realized real estate was the long-term wealth building vehicle? When you bought that duplex?
When I bought the duplex and saw money coming in without having to work for it, and seeing that money coming in on the first of every single month of a check showing up, that, free and clear of money, and mortgage being paid and rents being paid and insurances being paid and making money, I'm like, this is something I got to focus on.
So the rent covers the debt service and throws a little change in your pocket.
Yeah. And if people can really look at it and say, hey, what's $500? What's $1,000? What's $2,000? And if they can really buy a property and invest their money and have that money coming in, you start stacking 3 or 4 of those deals. Now it's 10 grand. Now it's 20 grand a month coming in. It's life-changing amount of money. And it's a huge deal,
Where, if someone doesn't have any property right now, like where do they start?
I would say a 4-plex. I always tell everyone, like, I started in a duplex. Excuse me. I would say like the 4-plex is definitely a good starter, because when I started buying duplexes and single family early on, and when someone moves out, now there's no rent coming in, and you got to paint the place, you got to fix it up, and then it's down for a few months, so you lose a lot of your profit by the turnover. And if you can get into a 4-plex, now if 1 or 2 of those move out, they're still paying for your rent, and you're not ever going backwards. So the more units you can buy up front, if it's 8 units, 20 units, and all of that, the turnover rate's never going to affect you to where it's actually less risk. And people look at it to where it's more of a, like, they don't want to do it because they're like, oh, it's a bigger property, but actually the bigger you go, the less risk you have.
Yeah, the bigger ones, the bank looks at it as a business.
Right.
A lot of people don't even realize that they don't even need, it's not like you need to have all this financial wherewithal. If the business, because that's what it is, is making money, a bank will loan a lot of people money. They don't even realize they could get a loan.
It's actually easier the bigger you go, because they know that there's less risk there too. Because if you have 80% occupancy, or 90% occupancy, you have that place mostly filled. If 10 people move out, 5 people move out, you're still getting a ton of rent. It's still paying for the mortgage. It's still putting cash in your pocket.
Do you have any key areas that you own them in where you could go short-term rentals?
I haven't gotten into the Airbnb stuff. I have some buddies that are doing that, and they're having great success. I've always just trying to find bigger properties, buy and hold, and more focus on the cash flow has been my play. Because, if you have the single units or vacation homes, there's a lot more turnover. There's a lot more going on. You got to have a staff. You got to be renting it out all the time and doing that, which isn't a problem. There's ways to make money in everything. But for me, it's buying a property, sitting on it, and having that thing just cash flow. And if I can buy enough properties to where my cash flow keeps going up every single month and keep stacking that, then you're buying all your fun stuff like cars and watches and all the things off your passive income.
Where do you see yourself in like 5 years? You going to exit, or you have a long-term strategy?
More and more I keep hearing about people selling their companies, roofing companies, and I'm definitely interested, but I just haven't done that yet. So, I mean, it might be a play in 2 or 3 years, 4 years of possibly selling, but right now I still enjoy what I'm doing. So I don't really want to sell it. I don't really want to get out of the business completely yet. So I'm going to just kind of keep building my brand and see where it takes me.
Do you still live like below your means, or are you finally starting to flaunt a little bit?
No, I mean, the last few years I have been buying some cars and some nice watches and stuff, but I don't buy it for my earned income. It's all passive income.
What kind of cars?
Yeah, I got a Ferrari, a 488. I got a Huracan, Lamborghini, and then I got a Urus as well.
Yeah. Well, how do you like the 488?
I love it. Yeah, it's a smooth car. It's nice.
Yeah, I have an F8, which is the new 488.
Yeah.
I was going to get a 458, but I thought the 488 looked better.
Mm-hmm.
So I went with the F8, and I should have went with the 458. It was the last naturally aspirated V8.
Right.
And now they're like shooting up.
Yeah.
And the F8s are even. I mean, any
They're
Ferrari,
awesome looking though.
dude, they look killer.
They're sick.
What like right now I have a 296 GTS coming from the factory.
Yeah.
But again, it's V6 and it's hybrid. I'm not sure I'm going to like that. But yeah, the cars, do you post those on social media or no?
No, I haven't. I mean, I put my Urus out there. I go to a lot of car shows and whatnot back home, but I'm just really have a hard time posting all that. I don't feel like I want to brag about things, but then in the same time, it's like, I'm proud of what I'm doing, but I don't want to be the guy like, hey, look at my cars, and post things. But I do go to some car shows. I do post a little bit, but I don't post much on my cars.
Folks, if you guys want to follow Tony, it's Tony_Flattum. That's Flattum. You can also just Google him, Tony Flattum. But so the cars, what about the houses? You own so many doors, but you wouldn't live in any of them, would you?
No, we have a basic house. I mean, we're right in our hometown where we grew up, Stillwater, Minnesota, and so we have a house there, and it's not over the top. Like, it's nice, simple neighborhood, and my wife and I just wanted to keep our kids like in a nice neighborhood close to school, and so yeah, we just have a nice basic house, and I'm never home hardly anyways. I mean, I work all the time and I travel a lot, so for me to have a big house and not really using it didn't make sense to me. So we have a nice little simple house.
Would you ever consider building a dream home?
Maybe eventually, but now that the kids are getting older, it's like, I don't know if I would want to really build a big house and they're all, getting ready to go to college and grown up a little bit to where then it'll just be my wife and I. So as that starts to happening, it's like, well, maybe we'll just get a condo somewhere or have a place down in Florida or, a vacation home and then have our home back in Minnesota and spend our summers up there and then our winters somewhere warm.
Why is it you don't seem to want to fucking live at all?
I do live. I mean, I
mean, live
cars.
big.
Yeah. I mean, but we grew up so humble, my wife and I, and we didn't have money growing up and we don't really need all the flashy stuff. We don't need the big house, but for me, like, I finally just started buying the cars like a couple of years ago. Like, I literally waited 20 years. Like, I wanted this stuff. And when I first started, I wanted to make money. And I'm like, oh, I want to buy the cars and the watches. And then when I started making money, my mindset just shifted a little bit to where I'm like, now that I have money, I don't want to waste it on that right now. So I literally just started investing in properties when I fell across that duplex and started realizing that was my passion of just buying more and more properties.
Yeah. So what you did is you realized how money works.
Yeah.
Because most people, that's the mistake they make. They don't understand how money works. And once you realize it, it's almost like buying those cars is almost stupid.
It is.
Because the $300,000 or $400,000 you'd give for that car, you could buy that property that would pay for the car. So you get the car for free.
Yeah.
And then once you say, okay, I'm going to get the car for free, and you're like, well, shit, now I could use that money to buy that property and pay for two of them.
Yes.
So at some point you have to just say, look, I've gotten enough, or now I get to spend it. Because like my goal eventually would be, killer beach houses, killer mansions, all of it. Mm-hmm. Like that's what I'm looking for.
Yeah.
Looking forward to.
Yeah.
Private jets. Do you fly private at all?
A few times. I mostly just fly commercial, but
so you're just humble Tony Flattum.
Yeah, I mean, eventually maybe I'll start buying like, more and more stuff. But I mean, the house and stuff, we just really haven't thought about buying a big house. So we just, haven't been on a radar. But private, yeah, it'd be nice for sure.
How about family? Do they come out of the woodwork? Do they know you're loaded?
Yeah, they do.
Do they ask for money?
Some have.
What do you tell them?
No.
Why not?
Because, I mean, the closest family, like my mom or whatever, of course I would help her out. My dad passed away when I was young, so he's not around, but my brother, of course, I would help him out. But any of the extended family, it's like, no. I mean, you're not around, you don't call me. And if you're going to call for money only, no. I mean, that's not the thing. I'm not going to just give you money to help you out, But
why not?
Because, I mean, over time, like, people just start to, like, take advantage of you. And I think over the time where they just only call for money, only call for this, and then they want to borrow money, and then you borrow money, and then now you're chasing them down saying, hey, pay me back. And they're like, why pay me back? I mean, you have all this money. Why would I want to, pay you back? And it's like, it starts to get cutthroat to where it's like, well, you said you're going to pay me back in a month, and now I'm chasing you down. Now it just becomes a burden. It's a pain in the ass. Where I'm like, no, I'm done doing that. Like, it's gotten annoying over the years to where if they're only going to call for money and they don't call for anything else, sorry, you're on your own.
Well, what I did is I started saying, yeah, here, boom, knowing full well they wouldn't pay it back, and knowing full well that I'd never have to take that call again. So sometimes it's worth loaning them, especially when they call for a little amount. Hey, Tony, can I borrow $500? Be like, yeah, there you go. You're not getting it back, but that $500 eliminates any more phone calls, any more headaches.
Or they keep calling you wanting more and more, and then you got to cut them off.
But they didn't pay back the first $500.
Right.
The answer is easy now.
Yeah.
Because I always feel bad myself.
Of course, I felt bad too, and I had more friends calling asking for money instead of family. But over the time, I was just like, I'm not a bank, right? If you want to make money, you can go make money. If you want this, go do whatever you got to do. I had to get all my money. No one gave me money. It was all earned and deserved for me. I mean, no one was coming to save me. So, I mean, I had to go make my money and do it. So for me just to start borrowing money and paying that, like, it just seemed like it was more of a pain in the ass over the years to where I just cut it off. And it was me being nice, giving people money early on. And then it became a problem to where now it's like, hey man, where we're at, and then they just would never pay you back, and then it was like, I'm just done doing that.
So to me, roofing is like always interesting because of the roll up abilities, and there's a lot of roofing companies out there that can't bust 2, 3, 4 mil, but they're consistently doing 2, 3, 4 mil. And if you go get 5 of them, roll them up under one set of books, one set of leadership, one brand, well, now that thing's worth way more than they were individually.
Absolutely.
So, like, why don't you just buy all the little ones around you and make them instantly built strong?
It's definitely on my radar. I mean, I just don't have a playbook for that. I mean, I haven't done it yet, but I'm definitely considering wanting to work with companies that are smaller that want to maybe merge in or even keep their personal brand, or their brand going. And we just have like a holding company and having 4 or 5 of them going and then helping them grow and scale and then have a package deal to where now we're worth more if we do sell. But that's like all in the works right now. Like, it's so early. I mean,
do you go to the roofing conventions?
Oh, all the time. I'm down here actually right now.
There's one in Marco Island, Florida.
Yeah.
RoofCon I just spoke at.
Yeah. I go to that one too.
Were you there?
I was, yeah.
I spoke there.
Yeah.
Did you see me?
Yeah.
Oh, how'd I do there?
Awesome.
It's like, I never know. But that's where I started.
You're crushing, man. I mean, I saw you at MDM and then also at RoofCon.
Yeah, that's where I started thinking, man, I need to get into roofing, and I always get distracted with these shiny objects because, like, obviously I'm not in roofing, but I feel like it sounds so easy. Like, he's obviously starting a company's easy, but then you just, hello, hey, you mind if I get up on your roof and check it out?
Yeah.
And I'm just thinking, like, what stops everybody from opening a roofing company?
Well, a lot of them don't want to knock on doors.
Why? You're not selling anything.
They have a fear of knocking on doors, just like a fear of, public speaking, or a fear of, social media. I mean, everyone they hold themselves back a little bit, and knocking on doors is not easy. It's simple, but it's not easy. Not everyone wants to do it.
Well, I mean, you've won 3 times or 2 or 3 times already. Yeah. So it's like, boom.
Yeah. And I think a lot of it was because I was good at what I did as a salesperson. I knew I could bring in the business. So that I already had that out of the way. I didn't have to worry about opening a company and then having leads and starting to sell jobs. Like, I knew how to get business. So
would you just go to any neighborhood?
Well, I would look at where the storms were or whatnot. When there's older roofs and have hail damage, that was our focus. So I would square off those neighborhoods, and I would just go in there and live in that neighborhood and just knock on doors and just follow up was the biggest piece, is going back and following up and updating homeowners, and then letting them know what we're doing there.
Does the insurance company pay you?
Yes. Well, they pay the homeowner, and the homeowner pays us.
What if the homeowner doesn't pay you?
Well, then you can lien their property. And
so you got obviously signed agreements.
Yeah, of course. I mean, we're not just doing it for free. I mean, we're out there letting them know what our process is and how we can help them sign an agreement. And then if we get them approved and move them through the process of getting the work done, we do the work. Yeah, I mean, they're signing contracts to get that work done. And then the homeowner will get paid from the insurance company, and the homeowner pays us.
Are you bombarded with competitors knocking on the same doors?
Absolutely. Yeah, it's really competitive.
How do you get the bid over these other ones?
Well, a lot of it's first in the market, being there first, and then other than that is follow up. Most companies I see that are out there, they blow through neighborhoods and they just keep going looking for the low hanging fruit, and they don't follow up. So if we can train our guys to work in like a 6 to 8 block area and really hone and stay in that area and go back and talk to people and follow up, let them know what we're doing in the area, you start building trust. You start getting one more sign and then one more sign, and then it just keeps compounding from there. People are going to see who you are, and they're going to see that you're there taking care of them and then taking care of their neighbors, and you're going to get more and more out of that area.
Do you ever think about flying drones over neighborhoods and looking at the roof to see if they're already screwed up?
Well, we don't fly over and just look at neighborhoods, but we're in the areas and we offer free inspections. If they're too steep to walk on, we fly some drones and look at everything and take pictures and do that. But we're not just flying drones over neighborhoods and doing that, because these days there's so many reports out there for hail damage to where where the hail hit, how big it was, what area it covered, and then just sending teams in those areas and just canvassing and knocking on doors and getting on roofs, and then you can easily see it from that point. But we mostly utilize drones if it's just too steep and we can't get on, or if it's too high, 2-story, 3-story commercial properties, fly over drones then.
Do you have tons of people wanting jobs or no?
We want a lot more, but I mean, we put ads out there all the time. We're always recruiting. We're always bringing people in, but yeah, I mean, there's times where we get a lot of guys coming in early in the spring, it seems like, and then throughout the season, everyone's kind of hunkered in on where they're working. So we only have a few trickling in here and there throughout the year, but we're always hiring, good people.
What is an average income for a roofing guy?
Yep, average, I would say $80,000 to $250,000 for first year reps.
So you can make $20,000 a month.
Yeah,
fairly easily.
It's not. I wouldn't say it's easy. It's simple, but they have to get out there and work and put the time in. They got to knock on doors. They got to be disciplined. They got to put the time in. And if they're consistent and truly believe in what they're doing and getting out there and working, they can make 200 plus a year if they're just getting after it.
Why do you call yourself exteriors? What do you do other things besides the roof?
We do. Yeah, we're full exteriors. So we do roofing, siding, windows, gutters, wraps, door wraps, fascia, soffit, full exteriors.
Yeah, because I always wonder why these roofers don't become almost home solution people.
Yeah.
Because if I can sell you on your roof and I notice, hey, your water heater looks old, you want me to check it out? Hey, your garage doors look a little shitty, you want me to hook you up? Hey, your landscaping looks like it's needing some, like why I would want to start like real, everything I do is real home solutions, which includes roofing,
yep,
everything you're talking about.
Yeah, I think if you start getting into too many things, then your production gets so spread out to where obviously you can grow and scale, but we always kept it simple to where we did only do roofing, siding, windows, gutters is kind of our main things that we focus on. I mean, we get offered to do decks. We get offered to paint fences or do fences or AC units and all that kind of stuff. And we did back in the day, we started doing some other things, but then our production would get so bogged down because we weren't really specialized in what we do. So we've honed it into where we do what we're great at and focus on that. Everything else, we just pass on and do what we're great at. So we can really get good customers and customer service, because you start doing one deck here, one deck there, and I know you can scale obviously and do more and
or sell the referral.
Yeah, you could do that too.
Don't you have relationships with deck builders?
We do. Yeah, we do.
So when someone says, "Hey, can you do my deck?" I'll be like, "I'll send my guy right over," and all you're doing is throwing it to your buddy, and your buddy kicks you down 20%.
Right. Yeah, I mean, you can definitely do that. We do have a handful of people that we work with that we pass stuff to.
What do you think your percentage of roof versus the rest of it is?
Roofing is our main. So, I mean, we probably do 70% roofing, a lot more volume, and then sidings next, and then gutters, and then windows is very low for us. We don't do a whole lot of windows just because we're not great at it. We're not geared for windows. We don't have a lot of guys that know how to sell windows, and we focus on what we're good at. So we really just put a lot of energy towards the roofing, siding, and gutters, and then windows. If we have a house that has one side that's smashed by hail, we'll go out there and match them up best we can to what they have, if it's Marvin or if it's Pella or whatever else, and we would go ahead and do those windows. But we're not like chasing windows, but because we're doing so much volume, what we're doing anyway is for the roofing and siding and gutters, we just stay what we're good at.
How much margins in roofs?
Yeah, I mean, anywhere from 40% to 48% margins is pretty common.
So if someone says, it's 20 grand to do the roof, it's probably 10 grand cost.
Yeah. Roughly. 10, but then 10. You got commissions and stuff you got to pay. But yeah, materials, labor is about that. And then you got the commissions to pay the reps for selling the job. And then the rest is profit.
And it all mostly is paid by insurance.
Most of our work is insurance. We're leaning more towards retail now because the market's shifting a little bit, but it's been insurance for the last 20 plus years.
How come insurance companies don't grind your ass down?
Well, they are. I mean, they're changing the game a little bit now to where they are going to like an ACV policy, which is actual cash value. So they're only paying the upfront money and not paying the depreciation as much. So that's changing a little bit to where going to retail will be a bigger play moving forward. But for a lot of years, the game has been insurance. I mean, you go out there, you knock on a roof, you get up there and take a look at it, get back down. It's paid by the insurance company, and homeowner pays $500 out of pocket, $1,000 out of pocket, and the rest is covered by the insurance. It's just been an easy play for the last 20 years, but now it's turning into more of ACV policies, percentages for homeowners out of pocket, so the prices are going up a lot more to where you got to change your game a little bit and do a little more retail and offer financing.
What is your pitch at the door?
My pitch at the door? Pretty much just walk up there and I'll ask the homeowner if we can do a free property inspection, that we're in the area working with the homeowners. So if you're saying that we're working with Steve next door or Stacy next door, and we're offering a free property inspection to pre-qualify you with your insurance company. It takes about 5-10 minutes to see if you have damage or not. And then take a look at the roof and get back down. And then the main thing is going through the whole process with the insurance company, explaining to them what they have on their roof and what the insurance pays for to pre-qualify them to keep moving them through the process.
Have you ever been wrong?
Well, I wouldn't say wrong, but I mean, we've got on roofs that were marginal, less not like smash damage, and where the insurance comes out and says, no, we're not paying for this, because they wanted so many hits per test square, or some insurances will just deny it anyways, even if there's good damage there. So if there's ones that are like really smashed that we know that there's a good chance, we'll push the issue and file for a reinspection to get them back out there to take a look at it. Now, if it's so marginal to where there's dents on the vents and they got paid for vents or they got paid for valley metals, all the different things, but there wasn't a whole lot on the shingles, we'll let the homeowner know, and we're honest up front. We're like, hey, your chances are 50-50. You have some damage here. It's not smashed. There's a chance of being approved, and we can pursue it if you want to and go through that. So then they know if their insurance comes out and they do turn them down, and there's a chance we can say, hey, we can push this and try to go for a reinspection, or just give us a call in the next storm, and we'll take a look at it and try to get it covered for you and just give them options, Do
you have any like recurring memberships that you sell?
Mostly on commercial, but we don't do a whole lot of that. We're starting to grow that division now, but we do offer like a maintenance agreement, or we'll go out in the spring, check their job after the winter, because we're in Minnesota. They got a lot of snow and weather, And then we'll go out there in the fall to make sure everything is good over the whole summer, and then just kind of spot check twice a year. And we do that on mostly commercial. We don't do it on residential, I guess, as much.
Why not?
I don't know.
I'd be thinking about that.
It's a good question.
Yeah, I mean, I'd be thinking, if I'm in your shoes, I'm going to be thinking, how do we get $20 a month from these homeowners, or you know, $10 a month? Not for the $10, but for the relationship to remain intact. Because a lot of these storm chasers that run around and knock on doors, if you guys are doing a good job and you have some sort of recurring relationship, if I were to answer the door and someone goes, boom, 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 hey, I'm in the neighborhood and da-da-da, I'd be like, bro, I have it covered. Like, in other words, they'd start basically knowing Tony's got me.
Yeah.
And if I have any roof issues whatsoever, Tony's got me. And so that product would give them something to where it basically tells all the people knocking on their door to beat feet.
Right.
Because I don't want to have to deal with bids and all this other shit.
Yeah. I mean, we do obviously follow-up emails and whatnot, and we stay in front of them that way, but we're not offering them on residential. But we should, probably.
Hell yeah.
Yeah. Stay in front of them a lot more. And I know whenever we have storms that come through, we have the CRM that has all the database of who our customers are, and we'll print that off when the storm hits, and we'll call those customers back and say, hey, we were here a year ago, we were here 2 years ago and looked at your job, or we did your house 2 years ago, and stay on top of them that way, to where we're calling them and following up with emails. But yeah, we just haven't charged homeowners for residential.
If I'm a roofer trying to build my business, what are some tips or keys you can give me?
Yeah, biggest thing is trying to hire, obviously, people out of the gate for salespeople, but then as soon as you can, hire assistants, hire office managers, hire a team, leadership team, to where you can grow and scale. I think most companies at a smaller level, from like 5 million to 10 million, they don't invest the money. They want to hang on to it, and sometimes you have to just get out of the way and let the company grow and scale. And pretty much let them build the company. And if you're in the way all the time trying to do everything, you're holding the company back. You're the bottleneck. And I wish I would have known that earlier too, of just like, hey, not being in it all the time, like literally pulling yourself back, hiring some people and trusting them to go ahead and do the work. And even if they're not doing it as great as you, even if it's 80% of doing a great job, that's still better than you having to be everywhere wearing 10 hats and bogging yourself down. So if you can get a team around you and grow and scale, and knowing those breaking points and knowing to have people in place, you'll grow a lot faster early on.
What about advertising and finding business? You don't do much of that. You say just door knock.
We do. I mean, we advertise a little bit just to have our brand out there in the local market, but most of our stuff is working with insurance agents, networking with realtors, networking with HVAC companies, anyone that's on the property, that like landscapers that are out there. If they're seeing something, like network with those guys and they pass you business, we get a lot of business that way. But then also knocking on doors, because we used to have a call center back in the day. We used to advertise back in the day, but then it was like we were working a spot that had good damage, good homes, and then a lead would come in, and we're driving 40 minutes over here for a tire kicker. We're driving 40 minutes up here to take a look at something, driving an hour over here to look at something, when all the work is in a spot that we're working, because we're not retail as much. So for us to leave that area and go and drive around and look at other stuff, you're wasting time. And you might get a job here and there, but if you can really just hone and work the guys in the area and build that trust and more signs in the area, you're going to get more jobs in a smaller area and build that trust faster than driving around doing a one-off here and a one-off there. It just, for me anyways, it just seemed better to train door knockers.
When you say retail, what does that mean?
Yeah, not insurance. So if you're out there and you're taking a look at something and there's no hail damage, and you give them a retail bid on the gutters or a roof that has 20 years old that just needs to be replaced, not insurance, that's retail.
Why doesn't someone just get up there with a hammer and smash some shit in and say it was damaged?
Well, it's being professional, and obviously the insurance company will know what's man-made or if it's hail damage. I mean, you start making damage like that and causing problems, and people do.
Just bring a rock up there.
People do make damage, probably. Yeah, I mean, and they get busted. They get freaking thrown in jail.
That's called fraud, ladies and gentlemen. Don't be caught doing fraudulent activities.
Right. And there's enough work out there for everybody. And I always tell everyone, like, if you're having to make damage to get a job, like, that's just get out of the business. What are you doing? Like, be professional, help homeowners. There's plenty of work out there. You don't have to make damage, but people do. I mean, we see it on the news every now and then. People out there making damage, peeling shingles back, ripping shingles off. It's like
the roofers or the homeowner?
No, probably homeowners too, but then roofers. Yeah, I mean, they're out there. I mean, they're peeling shingles back or making damage. I mean, you see it on the news. It happens. But I always say to myself, like, there's so much work out there. Why are you doing that? I mean, there's plenty of work. Just go work in areas that there's damage and help homeowners through the process and do it the right way. And you're going to get more business because of it by doing the right thing.
How do you know when there's hail and where it went through?
So there's apps, obviously, that will tell you, like Hail Trace and a bunch of other apps that will tell you of where the hail hit and how many homes were hit and what zones got hit. So
how does it know?
I don't really know. I mean, they have their database to where they can tell roughly, and they're not always right. Like, there's times where you'll have a pin that will show like a 2-inch hailstorm in this area, and then we'll go work that spot for a little bit, and there's some damage there, but then we'll get a call from a homeowner or saying, hey, my sister down the road, look at their roof, and you go over there and it's outside of the swath, and there's damage there too. So, I mean, but they give you a pretty good idea where to start. But there's always damage outskirts as well, where there's not a whole lot of reports showing that there's damage there, but there's damage. So it's just getting those, general idea where to go, and then from there just hit all the streets and knock on the doors and get on jobs.
Is it the homeowner's insurance that pays for it?
Yes.
So you would think, like, when hail comes through, insurance companies are like, shit.
Yeah. I mean, yeah, just like fires or hurricanes or whatever else. Yeah, but that's why you pay insurance, right? If you pay insurance and something happens, you need to get covered. Just like having a car. If your car gets dented by hail or you get in an accident, you call the claim in, you get it taken care of because there's damage there. Same thing for the house.
States like Nevada, where we don't get really hail, you just stay out of those?
Yeah. I mean, there's companies that are down here. I hear guys that are down here working. They're probably doing more retail. But for us, yeah, we work in markets. I mean, luckily we're in Minnesota to where there is consistent storms every so often, in Wisconsin. So we've worked where we're at. But yeah, there's areas that, like California, that I know guys that are over there doing roofing and they're doing more retail.
Interesting. I'm like tempted to get into that space somehow.
Let's hook up. Let's do it. Let's open an office out here somewhere.
Well, I don't want to do it here. I want to follow what's working. Only fools go out and try to reinvent the wheel when the wheel runs just fine.
Right.
Like, dude, you've started several and built them up. So obviously your formula works. I'm just trying to figure, because I can get salespeople.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, so will you. You're building your brand. By the way, folks, support Tony by going to follow him on social media. But you build that brand. I could swipe up and probably say, I mean, dude, there'll be people listening to this podcast that are saying, I'll work for you for $240. I can make a couple $100,000 a year. I'll come work for you. I'll bet you anything, Bomb Squad listeners will hit you up saying, I'd love to work for you. I like your ethics. I like your vibe. Where do I report?
Absolutely. I mean, we're working all Minnesota and Western Wisconsin. So, I mean, we have plenty of opportunities. We have guys that are making over $500,000 in our company. So, I mean, it's just as much as you want to get out there and get after it, you can write your own paycheck.
And how good you are.
Absolutely. And working and following up.
And it sounds like you got a killer training program. What you need is the training system we do here.
Yeah.
We're able to basically virtualize that 4-day thing.
Yep.
To where you can run them through an interactive online training. So by the time they get to the 4-day, they're already aware of the terminology, the processes. And now you might be able to say, for example, spend 2 days with them instead of 4, right, or 1 day, because you train them virtually and they get all their information virtually.
Yeah.
Online, on demand. You can also scale that way, because now you could literally train 1,000 people tomorrow. But if you had a 4-day thing, you can only fit so many people.
Right. And we kind of lean towards the boot camp mainly because we want to see who is going to show up every day and be there for 4 days and commit their time to be there. And if they're there for 4 days in a row, they're invested. They want to be there. They want to know who we are. We want to build the trust of, hey, building the brand and saying, hey, this is the company, this is the values, this is the core values, this is what we're doing and where we're going with the company. And if they're showing up, it just really builds credibility and then builds to where we know who's on board. Because usually through that boot camp, we'll have a handful of people that will just won't show up on day 3 or 4. They won't show up.
Do you hire them first?
Well, we hire them, we go through boot camp, and then we graduate them from there and to move forward into the sales manager role. But at the end of that, we've had times too where we're like, they're just not showing up. They're not getting it. We don't qualify them and they don't start with the company. So they got to be pretty much, they start and it's like paid training pretty much for that week. And then from there, they get assigned to their sales manager to go out in the field. And most of them make it. I mean, if they're showing up for 4 days and they're committing and they're on board, then they're out in the field with the guys. And then we go through a 2 to 4 week training out in the field to where they're out there working and assigned a neighborhood, working with their manager and getting after it. So we'll know within the first 2 or 4 weeks if they're going to make it or not.
What are they paid during that week of training?
They're $900 a week is the training.
Damn.
Yeah.
So it's costing you $900 to train them.
Yeah.
Dude, I could show you how to do it for $9.
Yeah.
And I wouldn't get rid of the in-person because people need and want that. And it is a good way to build real relationships. But imagine spending $9, delivering all the information you would have over the 4 days, testing, tracking, interactivity, the whole bit.
Yeah. And
then they show up for a day and either graduate or not.
Right.
It's almost like a blended approach. Is there a lot of roofing companies that need training?
Absolutely. Most people don't do it. Even when I first started, I mean, my whole training was, here's the stack of contracts, here's the script, call with questions and go knock on doors. That was my training when I first started. So it was mainly, I had to want it and get out there and do it. But now it's like this industry 20 years later, if you're not doing training, most times you're not going to have sales guys that are going to stick around for a long period of time. You got to invest into them and help them out and make sure that they're succeeding. If you can get them through the boot camp, training on who you are, the company values, and what they're truly there, and they get bought into the company, and then they go out in the field for their first 2 weeks and you show them success and sign deals with them and show them how to do it live, because you can go into a training and say, do this and do that and do this, but being on the doors with them and showing them in person is a game changer.
They go out with a sales
manager. Yep. So they go out there and they train with them for 2 weeks in the field to where they have success in their first 2 weeks. And then from there, they're off on their own. And then we're spot checking. We're checking on them to see how they're doing. But by then they'll really know what they're doing, and they have to have some hustle and grit. And if they're out there doing that and working, they're going to be successful. And if they're not, if they give up on it and give up on themselves and they don't get out there and knock on doors, well, obviously it's not going to happen for them. So we offer opportunity all the time, but not everyone takes it.
Folks, there's your offer right there. Tony Flattum, Tony_Flattum. Hit him up in the DMs, especially if you're in that area. What if people are willing to move out there?
We would love to have them.
Yeah, because they're more committed because they moved their family halfway across the country. Folks, if you guys are looking to make a couple $100,000 a year, full training, paid training, which is crazy, in an industry that could make you rich, and I say that because, again, I mean, what's to stop someone from coming out, working for you for 2 or 3 years, learning it all, and then moving to another state and opening up their own?
It happens. We have it happen every other year. It seems like we have people that come and go, and nothing you can do. It's like all we can do is take care of them while they're there is the biggest thing. Take care of them while they're there, teach them, train them.
Forgetting the bombs all this episode.
Right.
Better give the bombs. Better give you a couple.
Yeah, I mean, people do leave. I mean, I think no matter how good you have it and how much training you do, people are going to get to a point to where eventually they're going to move up or move on, and they're going to move on and do their own thing eventually. But all I've gotten to a point of for myself is taking care of them while they're there. And if you do that really good job, they're going to be with you for a long period of time. Like my longest employee, I have 2, been with me for 18 years. And some over 13 years, and a lot over 5, and handful over 10, and then a lot of new people. So I think if you're taking care of people and doing the right things, they're going to stick with you. And the ones that are going to move up or move on, they're going to leave you, and nothing you can do about it. You just got to accept it and take care of them while they're there.
Nice. It's a good attitude.
Yeah.
Well, dude, I appreciate you coming in, sponsoring the show. Dude, this show's been sponsored by Built Strong, by the way. So if you need roofing in those areas, hit him up. But I would say, because I always listen as I'm a listener, if I'm a listener and I'm just a guy that's busting my ass, landscaping, paving, any kind of manual labor job, and I'm only making 80, 90,000 a year, dude, I'd drop the shovel. I'd be hitting up Tony, and I'd be going out to get a freaking life lesson in how to build and grow and scale a company and make $250,000 a year plus while I'm at it. I don't know about living in Wisconsin or wherever. Isn't that always snowing?
Yeah, in the winters, yeah. I mean, from pretty much December through March. I mean, there's snow, cold weather. We have actually had a pretty good spring. We've had some good weather up there. Snow's gone right now, but I think there's showing snow on Saturday when we get back or something. There's some more. I mean, you can have 50 degrees and then it'll drop down to 20 and get snow, and then it's warm again the next week. So springs are always crazy. You just never know what you're gonna get. But
you lived there your whole life?
I have, yep.
Beautiful city, Minneapolis.
Yeah. It is. I mean, I'm in Stillwater, so it's probably a half hour out of the Twin Cities, near Wisconsin border is where I live. But yeah, born and raised there. I've traveled everywhere, all over the place, and home is home. Like, I love that area. It's beautiful. There's nice rivers through there. We do a lot of boating there, a lot of lakes, fishing. I mean, it's amazing. Like, eventually it'd be nice to have my house there in the summers, and then in the winters maybe go south or go somewhere else a little bit and get out of the winters. But I also do like skiing with my kids. I like to go, snowmobiling with my kids and going out there and doing that. So I do like the winters, but the cold gets old sometimes, and it'd be nice just to get out of there and go to those things when you want to, right?
100%. So folks, there you have it. Listen, if you guys are looking for work and you want a killer company sounds like to work for, hit up old Tony _Flattum. Until next time, keep it real.